Night of the Living Geek.
This is Chie Satanaka, and you're listening to the Giant Sword Podcast. You better eat more meat.
Hello, and welcome to this week's Giant Sword Podcast. I'm your party leader, Nick Lynn. With me, to my side, are my noble and Harryar, Taylor Hoyt.
Howdy ho.
Every time, Taylor, it's all you say. And,
Fine, I just won't say anything next time.
And Connor White.
As Barrett once said, there ain't no getting off of this train, we on.
And with us today is our very special guest, Ben Moore.
Hey, how's it going?
Pretty good. Your third time with us. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, good show.
Yeah, good to have you back, man.
All right, so lots of game news. I don't know a lot of JRPG news, but there have been a lot of Final Fantasy 15 previews lately, and they've all mostly been positive.
Yeah, I was seeing you coming up on my Twitter timeline, Ben. You were really raving about some of the Final Fantasy 15 previews that you saw. So I kind of wanted to just ask in a short fashion, because I know we've talked about this a ton of times, like, what is it you've been seeing lately that's really kind of got you even more primed for it?
So when I first played it at E3, there were some technical issues. The frame rate was bad. There were glitches all over the place. And then when I played it at TGS, like, that kind of stuff was cleaned up, so I was more confident about it. But when I played it at TGS, I didn't have a sense to really, like, take in and process the story. And so to have the previews come out and say, no, they're really invested in the story 5 chapters in. They want to see what's going to happen next. That was a big deal for me. Because, it's not Final Fantasy without a compelling story, unless you're Final Fantasy 13. So,
that makes sense though, because it's like when you're just seeing all the previews of all the gameplay and stuff, you're kind of looking at it like a surgeon, just like meat and bones and all this stuff. But it's like there's so much more to it than that really is yet to be revealed. So that is exciting thing to hear, because I didn't really think about it like that.
Yeah, people are feeling things, which is good.
Exactly. And if you're not feeling things playing Final Fantasy, then you might as well throw the disc in the trash.
I wasn't really interested in Final Fantasy 15 until I heard Ben's TGS report, and I'm like, okay. I think I'm actually gonna get it now.
What about it? What about it exactly?
I remember from what you said before is that it was kind of chuggish and didn't seem like something was missing. And then now you said it's really, they've really put together now.
All right, yeah, you can see a lot of times, like, as a game comes together, it's like you kind of like, okay, I hope that's going to be there when the time comes. So it's like it's gratifying to see it actually, like, change for the better.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying, what is the delay going to do? It's only a couple months. How dramatic is it? And from the looks of it, pretty dramatic. And that's a testament to the team. If they are able to come out with this thing and this game gets 9s and 10s after the trouble that it's been through, I think that's really incredible.
Yeah, they'll all look like geniuses for doing it then, and all of a sudden all our complaints about the delay will be forgotten.
Exactly.
Do you know if you played on the PlayStation Pro?
So I specifically looked for that. They had the consoles underneath the monitors, like in this cupboard. I opened the cupboard and was staring at the console. It was a regular PS4.
Oh, okay, good to know.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Taylor, this next little piece of news is kind of more up your alley. It's up your allies. It's up your alley.
Yeah.
Persona 5 English voice trailers.
Yeah, so they put out the first, it's really short, but they put out the first trailer for Persona 5 with the English voice cast, and then they put out the actual, just like, here's who's playing what character. It sounds good. Sounds good to me. Apparently the guy who's voicing the protagonist is the guy that does the announcer voice on Smash Brothers. Xander something. I can't remember his name, but
that's a wacky, like, 6
I know,
degrees
right?
of separation.
Right.
But he Persona's main protagonist voice actor is really just grunts and in Persona.
Well, I'm hoping that maybe because, Persona 5 has taken such a leap that he might have more to say. You can hear him talk. I mean, I don't know if it's him or another character. It's hard to tell with the way the trailer's edited, but yeah, it sounds good. When I was looking at the list of voice actors, the only one I recognized is Matthew Mercer, and he plays Leon in Resident Evil, and he played Kanji in a post Troy Baker world for Persona 4. So I know he knows what he's doing. The rest of the names I totally did not recognize a single one of them.
Well, as a non-Persona like cultist, let me ask Ben, like, hearing like the release of these voice actors, like, does that mean anything to you, or is like are you at the same place where Taylor is, where like even the release of the voice actors like is news to you?
Yeah, it matters to me because when you're playing a game for 70 to 100 hours, it needs to be at least tolerable.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's not. I've played games for that long where it's not tolerable and you go insane. But I think you bring up a good point. I didn't recognize a lot of the names either, and I went to behind the voice actors and kind of checking out their past. And a lot of them are pretty fresh. It seems like a lot of them have only started getting active in video games within the last 12 to 24 months. So,
oh wow,
that's interesting. It's not necessarily a bad thing.
Right.
I tend to think, especially with its Persona property, that Atlas has done a pretty good job. I can't think of too many instances where it's been super disappointing. So I have full confidence in them, but it is jarring. The protagonist in the Japanese version and a lot of the Japanese characters just tonally sound very different than their English counterparts, and so I think that's going to take a little bit of time to get used to.
Yeah, definitely. It's almost kind of like it's weird having like those two different versions of the same thing in your head. It's like the same dissonance that happens when you like read a book and then see the movie and you're like, oh, what the hell? That's not how that guy looks or sounded or whatever.
Exactly. It's exactly like that. Yeah.
For sure. Well, I don't know. I kind of asked you that question just because, like, I'm one of those guys. I think probably more in line with Nick, where I'm like, just tell me when the game's like a week away, you know. So, but this is a special case, I take it.
Yeah, a lot of people are upset, and I totally get it. That they want Japanese VO with English subtitles. They want that option, and it's not coming. And I get that perspective, and I'm sympathetic to it. It's not going to bother me. I play Atlas games in English. I'm fine with the English dub, but hopefully that's something in the next couple of months they can announce.
Yeah, I was makes me want to ask, like, why would they not include that? It's like it seems like you couldn't really do anything by adding it except to make more people happy, because the people who don't want to use it won't. So, like, could you think of a good reason why they would not do that other than just like laziness or something like?
I'm always hesitant to say laziness because I don't know the inner workings of what's going on at that company. I guess.
Right. I would never accuse them of laziness, but just some other
I guess
reason.
Doing subtitles for the English, like, maybe that's just extra work that they haven't budgeted appropriately. I don't know. But it is something that I feel like in the last year and a half, 2 years, more Japanese RPGs are doing, where they are giving you that option. And so I don't know. I don't know why that's happening. Like World of Final Fantasy, which probably doesn't have as much dialogue as Persona 5, is coming out with Japanese VO with English subtitles as an option.
Well, kaboom!
Yeah.
Yeah, my guess would be that it's because you would have to repay the actors, is my guess. So I'm wondering if it's a licensing issue that they don't want to fork over the extra cash to pay those guys.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I bet you there would be people that would pay for, Japanese voice DLC, like as shady as that sounds, but I bet you there's an audience that would be like, I'd pay $5 to get a Japanese dub or whatever,
Well, Taylor, your hypothesis there like smells the most true to me, just because it's like you follow where the money goes, and if they have to pay more people to get that addition or to get that addition into the game, then there's your answer most likely.
And it might be I don't know how big. I mean, I know Persona 5 is probably a huge game, but it might be a space issue too, because all those audio clips, to have twice the size. Blu-rays are big, but I don't. Maybe there's just not enough room on the disc or something. I don't know.
Yeah, there you go.
But who knows? Could be a variety of reasons.
Make it a 2-disc PS4 game.
That would be insane.
don't see those often anymore.
Right.
I knew people back in the PS1 days, very weird people, mind you, but that like thought because PS1 games, the ones that came on multiple discs, because they came out on multiple discs, like were just automatically better, like more complex, better games. It was a simpler time back then.
Just pure like superstition is the basis for that entire
Yep.
belief.
I could tell you that it's not true because Grandia 3 was a 2-disc PS2 game.
Mm-hmm.
It's only 40 or 50 hours long,
Only.
and it's very disappointing.
That's a strange outlier. And I don't know who your friend is, by the way, who had this theory, but I like this guy.
I don't even know if it was a friend. Like sometimes you would just go into game stores and because you didn't have the internet, because you didn't have like all this information out there, you would just have people say these random things, and there was no great easy way of verifying if they were true.
Dude.
Completely.
Like, dude, how many crazy like RPG theories did you hear like from people that just completely made shit up, and you just believed it for a while until you finally realized how ridiculous that is? Like,
Yeah,
Taylor,
I thought you could bring Eris back.
yeah,
you know?
exactly.
Yeah.
Dude, another Final Fantasy VII related myth. You know, when you first go to the Gold Saucer and right at the entryway, there's that guy in the back who...
I know where this is going.
Yeah, you're the one who told me this.
Yeah.
There's the guy in the back who will trade Gil in for GP. Like, it's a very back end. And, like, he's standing in front of this little, like, lit-up room that looks like you can go in, but you can't. And, like, somebody told
It
me...
was your brother, actually. It was Dallas.
Oh, it was Dallas.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Somebody told me that you could, you know, do some crazy confluence of things to like get inside that secret room, and there's like another hidden playable character that like
Yeah.
like. And I actually thought that was true for the longest time.
It was like if you get a specific score on the submarine game and they get a specific score on the fighting game, I'm like, all right.
But back then, I was just like, wow, this sounds really, really feasible. Wow. I'm listening.
I mean, there was no internet to corroborate, right? It was just like, oh yeah, that's like, got all those old, you know, schoolyard tales of secret things.
There was only PSM.
Yeah, exactly. There's just whisperings and PSMs. That's all we had to go on.
PSM felt like the coolest thing ever.
Oh,
like,
dude. I 100% agree. I'm so glad you said that.
Yeah, it was my fave.
Miss PSM.
Do you know how long they ended up going? It's not a thing anymore, I know for sure. But
It ended in the middle of the PS3 cycle.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, they kind of hung on for a while there.
Yeah.
It kind of died for me after the PS1 era. Like there was, it didn't feel the same. Like sort of those initial years of PSM where you had those really elaborate hand-drawn covers, and you kind of had that in the PS2 era, but they slowly shift away from it, and it's just there's more of an overtude in the 97, 98.
Yeah, definitely, because it's like at the beginning it really felt like a bunch of dudes who just threw together a magazine to talk about games, just a bunch of friends, and like I guess it kind of like became more like sterilized, like more or less as it went on. But
because the friends left.
Right. Well, and at the same time, like their like decline kind of coincides with like the internet becoming a readily available thing in everybody's home. So,
Dude, speaking of PSM, you know the Tales of Destiny episode,
or the
the
edition.
Yeah, it has the covers like of Metal Gear Solid 1. And the drawn character of Solid Snake looks nothing like Solid Snake now.
I think I know exactly which one you're talking about.
But
man, their covers were dope. And on the inside page of each cover, they would have the breakdown of how the artist drew it. Oh my god.
Oh yeah. Those are always cool.
Anyways,
the PSN memory train.
Yeah. Well, now that we're done waxing poetic about the days of yore, let's talk a little bit more about games coming in the future. We wanted to ask, what were you thinking, or what were you hoping to get from the upcoming PSX conference?
Specifically from an RPG standpoint, or just in general?
In general, but that specifically as an addition.
All right. PSX. What do I want out of PSX? I think that because we'll be past Final Fantasy 15 at that point,
right?
7 Remake makes the most sense, and I would love a date or
a year.
Would you like a date with Tifa, Yuffie, Eris, or Barrett?
Barrett every time.
Exactly. Good answer.
Yeah, I think Final Fantasy 7 Remake is kind of the big thing, just to see how far they've come and I think more information about what exactly an episode will entail, right? More concrete information about that. But
100%
otherwise, yeah. Just in general, I would love a Shenmue 3 trailer. That would be cool.
Right, now that the hype wave is kind of settled down, we're back into the quiet, waiting to see what happens next phase.
Right. And I wouldn't expect a date or anything with that. I just kind of want, here's where we are right now. More information about God of War would make sense, and I think that's a given. That has to be there.
For sure.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see the Shenmue 3 footage because we're going to hear Huber just scream in the conference. Well, it's like, oh, there's Huber.
Yeah, exactly.
For all I know, he's probably presenting it. I don't know.
And coming on stage is our guest host.
That'd be pretty awesome.
That should be great, especially because I know the Shenmue 3 trailer, barring complete catastrophe, will be received so well, just because it's hey, remember this is still a thing that's happening. It's like that.
We actually pulled this off. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I think PSX is the perfect time to really pimp out Persona 5 as well, and just make it a big celebration and get people hyped up. For sure.
Well, because FF15 has been hogging the spotlight of the genre for so long now that now that it's kind of out of the way, the plumbing can flow again, and we can get a look at all these other great RPGs that are coming up.
Also, people would stop bothering me about where I got my bag from last year.
Yeah, that was really funny.
I had a Persona 5 bag, and everyone's like, "Oh, where's Persona 5? Where is it?"
Constantly,
and I'm like, "This is my own bag. I got it from work."
Actually, I crocheted this myself.
Thinking about it, actually, the number one thing that I want, or that I can think of right now, is information on Dangan Ronpa V3. I think would be rad. It's not going to happen, not at an American event, but that would be cool.
For the uninformed, what do we know so far?
Very, very, very little. Other than it's a new cast of characters. There's going to be some twist to it, and we've seen drawings of some of the characters, but it's all very vague.
It's conceptual and whatnot.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds great. I knew we'd get some good stuff out of that. I'm really excited for PSX, by the way.
You're going, right?
Yeah, dude, of course.
Okay, we're all going. It's good.
I'm not going to chicken out on this one. I'm going to be there with my my square with the word press written on it shoved into my fedora. I'm going to be running around. I don't know. Trying to conjure images of ancient journalists. Anyways, so let's get on to... Sorry, go ahead, Nick.
I thought we were all going to talk about what we want from PSX. Tales of Destiny remake.
Oh my god, enough with this. Enough.
The collection, man.
I feel like we can't go an episode without Nick mentioning the Tales of
can
Destiny
we have a
remake?
swear jar at the podcast, except it's just every time Nick brings that up, or
either anytime
every time I bring up Xenogears.
Every time I say Tales of Destiny, it's just...
That is fucking awesome.
We're working on our soundboard. We're very excited to unveil that. All we have so far is Final Fantasy Tactics sounds, so we have many more that we'll be boasting soon.
Stan.
Right. But yes.
Sorry to correct myself from earlier. I guess Danganronpa V3 is coming out January 12th in Japan, and there's more information than I let on, I think. So, yeah. Sorry about that.
We are only humans. We can't be privy to every little tidbit out there. So, do you want to paraphrase what more we know, or is that just?
There's a trailer at TGS, and it looks very Danganronpa-y. Instead of Oak Peak Academy, it is called the Gifted Inmates Academy. So,
jeez,
you take control of Ultimate Pianist, Kaeda.
Ultimate what?
Akamatsu.
I'm sorry.
Pianist,
yeah. Okay, just...
What did I say? Pianist, that's what I meant.
Moving forward. Well, all right, sounds great. Hopefully they unveil a little more of that. But as far as PSX, Nick, what are you looking forward to? Because we will, of course, be there in the flesh.
Yeah, so joking about the Tales of Destiny, I definitely want to see actual live demo of Final Fantasy VII Remake. Mm-hmm. It's got to be the beginning. It's got to be the bombing run.
Yeah,
that's how
getting off the train, knocking down some Shenmue soldiers.
And then I want to see Ni no Kuni 2 gameplay.
Yeah, that's just been sitting there for so long with really haven't learned anything about that.
They have announced it last year at PSX, and they haven't said anything since. So
I know. Cosmic Star Heron is still not out.
Yeah, I thought that was supposed to come out in the summer, but we're almost at November, and it's
same
still
with
not
Chasm.
I'll never get sick of that name.
Yeah, it's a
Cosmic Star Heroine.
It was cool. It was like Chrono Trigger except sci-fi. It was really cool. That's pretty much all I really want to see. I mean, my dream non-JRPG one would be seeing a new Armored Core.
Nice.
So
I mean that's. I feel like that's a pipe dream, and if we do see it, it won't be the Armored Core that we're hoping to see. Like
Armored Core VR.
Oh, dude, don't say that in front of me. Say that again, we're gonna fight.
But yeah, and another pipe dream is the Tales of Destiny collection. I mean, we never got those, man.
Dude,
I think the time has passed.
you're embarrassing me in front of my friends, Nick.
I'm sorry.
All right, but Taylor, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just pretty much what Nick and Ben have said. I think PSX would be a perfect time to really showcase Persona 5 for sure, because it would be out 2 months later. Just really give it some nice stage time. I don't know if they do a demo, because usually RPGs don't demo well on stage, but just like a really slick trailer with the
unless you're Final Fantasy 7.
Yeah, that's true. Yes, I really hope they show 7 Remake, something of Ni no Kuni, like even again a release window.
Scalding hot secondhand takes there.
Yeah, for real. I think, I just had one and I lost it. Maybe some actual something of Resident Evil 7, because all we've seen so far has been like those little vignette videotape things, but it's like, who is the real character? What's actually going on in this game? Like, I think it'd be really cool to reveal like a familiar character like Ada Wong pops up, or Leon or something like that, because they said that like recurring characters will be in the game in some faction.
So far, Resident Evil fans are just like lost in this jungle of like all this new Resident Evil like kind of information that doesn't really link up with what they know. So to throw in a known character would be like a vine for someone to swing out of the jungle on. Like, oh, I get it. It feels like Resident Evil.
I kind of like the unknown of it. Like, I think that's why I'm so intently interested in it, because I don't know what it's gonna be. I think like that game is either going to be amazing or terrible, and I'm really excited to see where it falls and the story it tells and how it presents itself. So.
Nothing like a good boom or bust scenario.
Yeah.
Resident Evil 2 remake.
Well, I almost wonder if they would wait for 7 to come out before they start talking about that, but you never know. They could come out and surprise us. I mean, I didn't expect 7 remake last year or Ni no Kuni 2, so they could pull something crazy out.
For sure. Well, for me, I mean, what I'm looking forward to the most is just like going to this conference and just kind of soaking it all in, because you guys have been before and I have not. So this is going to be a big thing for me. I look forward to just kind of basking in the ambiance, as it were.
And then afterwards go to downtown Disney
and get irreparably drunk. I mean, go enjoy the sights? Question mark?
Either or. Or both.
No, that's going to be a fun trip. Looking forward to talking about it on the show. But anyways, let's move on a little bit. So, Taylor, there's a game that you gave a glowing review on the show last week.
Yeah.
And you were just going on and on about it. Dragon Quest Builders. And so you wanted to ask Ben something.
Yeah, so Ben, have you been playing this at all?
Yeah, I've been playing it pretty fair amount.
How far are you, and what do you think of it so far?
So I got right up to chapter 2, and then we are actually having Brandon review it now, and so I stopped playing it so I could focus on other things. But I've put, I don't know how many hours, but yeah, right at the cusp of chapter 2, I'd say.
Okay, so I don't know if this has been revealed to you yet, but every time you start a new chapter, your town, you go to a new town, everything gets wiped out. You're basically starting from scratch at each chapter. Like, I know that's kind of been a divisive, feature of the game. Like, how are you feeling about that? Would you rather have it been like this ever-growing fortress, or do you kind of like the idea that you're restarting every time you go to a new town?
It doesn't bother me as much as it bothers other people, and I totally understand why it does bother other people, but I'm not playing builders like a free-form, let me make everything perfect kind of thing. I'm not playing it like I do in Animal Crossing. I'm kind of playing it as like, I have to build this thing to complete this quest, and so I'm being very kind of on point with it. Not that I don't mess around and have some fun with it once in a while, but there's so many quests and so many things to do that I'm not really hung up on that thing. So if everything gets wiped, I'm okay as long as I'm moving forward.
Yeah. The fact that they set up the game that way just means they were obviously intending people to think of it that way.
Right.
But I guess a lot of people are just upset because they're, like you said, just expecting that sandbox freedom to create like some,
and that's there.
utopia.
You unlock free build mode. So if you want to go do that, you can. But yeah, I view, it's like an RPG, and I guess I play it like that.
Yeah, when Taylor told me about the game, it seemed like a really, really interesting like amalgam of RPG and sandbox. Like, can you think of another game that like really did that, like Dark Cloud or something, or were you like?
Dark Cloud's an interesting point of comparison.
But either way,
yeah.
Yeah, it's an interesting mashup of genres for sure. Did you stop reviewing it just because of like logistics, or was it not really grabbing you as much?
Oh no, I love it. It had nothing to do with that. It's just I've got 3 reviews I'm juggling, and that was a 4th review I was juggling, and so it just made sense. It just made sense to give it to Brandon, who didn't have a review. He just finished up Gears and didn't have a review that he was working on. So, and he loves it. So there's no reason for him not to do it.
Cool. For sure. Yeah, just because Taylor was raving about it so much, I pretty much like considered it a mortal lock that you'd be a big fan of it too. So
yeah,
sounds like I was more or less correct.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it is. It's a spin-off game that justifies itself so well, and even if you don't care about Dragon Quest, I think you can jump in and enjoy it and sort of appreciate maybe the more nuanced aspects of the series and have it serve as a bridge to other things. And I really like that a lot too. Plus, just, I don't know, do you guys know like its story and where it takes place?
I heard it's supposed to be in the Dragon Quest 1 world, but I don't really know much about Dragon Quest outside of 8.
So maybe this is just amazing to me, but in Dragon Quest 1 on the NES, you make a choice at the end of the game. The big baddie says, hey, why don't you rule the world with me? And of course, the canon ending is you reject him and you defeat him and good wins. But Dragon Quest Builders...
yeah.
Right, exactly. Dragon Quest Builders assumes that the hero, Erdrick or Loto, whichever you prefer, said, yeah, I'll join you. Because if you make that choice, the Dragon Lord betrays you, and he puts the hero in a grave. And in Dragon Quest Builders, you wake up in that ruined world where the Dragon Lord has taken over, and there is no more, Warrior of Light, essentially. And you wake up in a grave and have to repair this broken world from this like alternate timeline.
That is so unbelievably meta.
Yeah, it's really cool. And they have flashbacks to Dragon Quest 1, and you have
that's
these
what
conversations.
Those are.
Yeah.
Wow. So you're saying like true hardcore Dragon Quest fans are just like losing their crap when they play this game.
Yeah, it's so cool, especially going back that far,
Yeah, exactly. I mean, could you imagine like a Final Fantasy like referencing Final Fantasy 1 or 2? Like that's like insanity. Like even the most seasoned and saltiest of Final Fantasy fans like oftentimes haven't played back that far in the canon.
It's hard. It's really hard.
Yeah, it is hard as hell.
Have you tried that, Ben? Playing Final Fantasy 1?
See, I have no problem. Like I'll go play Final Fantasy 1 right now. Like
well,
that stuff isn't weird to me.
I haven't tried in like 5-6 years. I feel like it was frustrating then, and I probably would approach it with completely different perspective now.
I just miss Phoenix Downs so much.
Sure. I will tell you what is hard to go back to. Phantasy Star 1 and 2 are hard to go back to, and I love those games.
Oh man, my roommate just sold a pristine copy of the man, I don't remember which one it was, but it was hard to see it go. I was like, man, I don't even have a Sega, but can I like borrow that or something? Mm-hmm. But now that you say that, I don't feel as bad.
Yeah, they're really good. They'll just kick you in the balls if you're not ready for it. So.
All right, so to move on to our next topic, I've been destroying my backlog as of late. after I beat Cold Steel 2, I just started playing a lot of my old RPGs.
Mm-hmm. Tell them which one you're playing now, because it's at my behest.
Yep, I am playing Legend of Legaia, which 12 hours in. It's really good. I beat Grandia 3 before that, which was disappointing, as you could hear in my our last episode. Yeah, so I want to know all your guys' backlogs. What's the top JRPG on that backlog?
Yeah, Ben, what game have you been putting off for ages? And if you just had to drop all the new games in your inventory right now and just start on that one, what do you think it would be?
Well, I'm going to cheat a little bit, but if I could, honestly, I wish I could drop everything right now and just get back to and finish The Witcher 3 and then do The Witcher 3 DLC. Because I really love that game. I just haven't found time to finish it, and it's been really upsetting. But JRPG-wise, Shin Megami Tensei 4 Apocalypse is a big one, and Dragon Quest 7 is a big one, for sure.
That's the PS2 version that, Nick, you let me borrow, right? Dragon Quest 7, or was that 8?
That was 8.
Okay.
Yeah, so Dragon Quest 7 just came out. It's on 3DS. It's a remake of the PS1 Dragon Quest 7.
Oh, so was it Dragon Warrior?
It's called Dragon Warrior 7.
It's called Dragon Warrior 7.
Pardon me, it gets a little messy.
Yeah. It does get messy.
And why was it in your backlog in the first place?
Shin Megami, I guess.
Why is it in my backlog? Because I was trying to review it, but then I went to Japan and everything got screwed up.
Makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
By the way, how was your trip to Japan? Give us regale us with a couple tales here. Maybe some killer meals you had.
Yeah, it was glorious, man. Like, you build up something in your head for most of your life, and you go and you're like, well, there's no way it'll possibly be this cool, and then it's way cooler than you ever could have hoped for. It's just everybody's so polite there. Mm-hmm. Like, you go on a bus in LA and it's just like you don't know what's going to happen. Like, it could be the worst experience of your life. And that's true. I mean, yeah. I'm not trying to stereotype. I've been on buses in LA. It can get a little hairy.
Yeah, I live in Potrero Hill in San Francisco. I see some wacky things in my everyday life.
Yeah. You go on a train in Tokyo and it's just pristine, clean. No one is talking. Total silence. Everybody respects your space. Everybody's very aware of you. It's super nice. But I mean, as far as like cool sites and stuff, the Gundam Cafe was pretty rad. I don't think I've told people about that.
Excuse me, Ben. What did you just say to me?
Yeah, in Akihabara, there's a Gundam Cafe, and you can just go, and there's this giant TV playing Gundam, and I got this curry in the shape of a Zaku helmet.
Oh my god!
Like a tomato for like the eye. Pretty
nice.
Sick.
I was going to say, Ben, what are they playing on the TVs? Please, could I venture a guess?
Yeah, sure. Fair enough.
That's brilliant. Wow.
Which series?
Oh, just a motley assortment.
Just a shuffle.
If you've liked Gundam at any point, and it's 30-year history or whatever it is, it'll be on the TV eventually while you're eating. So.
I love that so much.
Yeah,
I think the thing I found really cool was from your Tales from the East series was like the Shohen Jump theme park or whatever it was.
Yeah, Jump World. That was sick.
God. Mm-hmm. You're just blowing my mind with all these fantastic Japanese sites that I need to see. Like, tomorrow, like buying a ticket, BRB.
It's gonna save up for $3,000 or something like that, a little more than that. It'll be good.
Yeah, it's not cheap to get over there.
I got my tickets for pretty cheap. Like, I got them for under $1,000. So you can, if you just constantly hunt, you can find a good time.
For sure.
And now that I've actually been there, I feel qualified to say this. Like, if you want to go, you should absolutely plan for it and make time for it and do it. Like, it's worth it.
Gotcha. So. Well, I was thinking another alternate route I could take is I could just wait until the next time that you were going to get sent over there, get myself, like a chloroform rag or, something to that effect. And, you do the math from there.
Yep.
But,
hey, whatever makes you happy.
I was going to take the Seinfeld O'Brien route and just go to the airport that you're coming out at and just go find the guy holding the sign that says Ben Moore. Anyways. So that's some good backlog games. Taylor, we talked a ton about your backlog project that you're going to be starting for the remainder of the year, right?
Well, post
FF15
and Persona 5, but
right.
if I had to put one game at the top of my list, the one that's been haunting me for the longest is probably Final Fantasy IX. I think I've started that game like 3 or 4 separate times and just never finished it. So I absolutely, that's got to be the first one I beat for sure.
Do you like it?
I do. Like, I don't know why I think I like the story and I like the world, but the battle system can be a little boring and the random battles happen really often. So I bought the PC version. I know me and Nick have, talked about that quite a bit, but I think that version might be the one to help me just get through it and see it through to the end. And not cheat, but, just fast forward, grind, and then just skip the random battles when I need to just get to the good stuff. So.
Well, Taylor, you kind of have like a little bit of a tougher time getting into like older games that you haven't played before, right?
Yeah, I suppose.
It kind of varies, huh?
Yeah, it depends on the game, but 9. I think the battle system for 9 is really what the problem was for me because it's not. It's just
not
a little
enough customization.
mashy. Yeah, there's not. It's kind of brainless in a way because it's just like attack, do a special move, attack, heal, attack. There's just nothing to it really.
I see what you're saying, but I guess it's just I don't know the way I look at the battle system as like a kind of slightly reimagined version of like what came before that like makes it okay to me because it's so Final Fantasy. But to just try to play it without that, it's like, wow, this is like kind of archaic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the hard part about a lot of the older RPGs is their battle systems are archaic. But, Final Fantasy IX has some of my favorite characters of, like, any game. Like, I love Vivi. I love Zidane, however you say his name.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I have to get through that game. Like, it's just, like, whether I trudge through it or just play it with a smile on my face, I have to beat that game.
Otherwise, RPG fans will forever be able to throw shade at you for not having done
You also
so.
have to beat a lot of other games.
Yeah, but Nick, you're always constantly reminding him of that fact.
Yeah.
What? I haven't reminded him of Grace's F yet.
You don't need to beat Grace's F. That's ridiculous.
Is that sorry, I don't know. Is that like the crappiest Tales game or something?
No.
I like it. I mean, I want to go back and beat it, but
yeah.
Do you not like it, Ben? Or it's not?
Oh, I like it, but I don't, like, even in the Tales series, I don't necessarily consider it an essential play. Like, it's good. It has a good battle system.
Your response didn't exactly serve as a glowing endorsement.
No. Yeah.
Good.
It's good. It's good. I mean, out of the Tales games I've played, I probably wouldn't put it like in the top 3 for my favorites or anything.
Okay.
Always so diplomatic.
What about you, Connor? What's sitting there right at the top of your backlog if you had to pick one?
Man, I was looking around at you guys this whole time, and I never even thought about what I need to do. Well, number 1, I really need to freaking finish Final Fantasy 12. Like, me and Casey have been playing it so much, but it's such a huge and deep game that we're still like not there yet, and it's tough because we've poured in so much effort to this game and we're still not at the end, but we gotta keep grinding it out to the finish. So it's like that one's in progress, but that's my number 1 objective on my backlog because
Nice.
I can't play FF12 Revenant Wings on DS until I beat the original FF12, and I really want to play that game. So
Okay.
that's my number 1 objective.
Nice. Good choice.
I guess I have one. I mean, I've been...
Unamas?
Yeah. Well, Legend of Legaia, because I just saw it on my desk. I'm like, hey, I want to play this now. My next is either going to be Radiata Stories.
Good choice.
And... or, since it's a Tales game, I need to beat Tales of Xillia 2.
Is that the only Tales game they haven't beaten?
I haven't beaten a lot. In my list, I haven't beaten a lot. I've in progress on a lot of them, but...
Yeah, I guess I do sometimes forget just how damn many there are.
Yeah.
There's a lot, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Well, it's funny because we really did start at like the genesis of the series, right, Nick? Like Tales of Destiny was
Tales
like
of Destiny
the
was the
progenitor
second
of the
one.
franchise.
Well, for US.
In the West, yeah.
Oh, what was the original besides Tales of
Tales of
Destiny?
Fantasia.
Oh.
That was on the Super Nintendo, and then it was ported to the PS1 after Destiny.
I knew that. Have you ever played that?
Yes. That's actually really good.
Ben, have you played that?
Fantasia or Destiny?
Fantasia.
I played Fantasia. I have not played Destiny.
Man, I kind of want to play that. I have to find a copy.
It's updated updated now, so the battle system's a little faster, so you could get into it a lot more. It's really fun. It's on my PSP if you want to borrow it.
Interesting. Perfect. Okay. Well, I still wanted to replay through the original Tales of Destiny just because it's so damn classic, and like the ending parts of the game and the side quests are so good, but the plot to get to the end is like really long and tough. So, well, you disagree, but that's just because it's your favorite game of all time.
Because you get to, is it Leiden or London?
Leiden.
Leiden. You can get to Leiden in like 20 hours.
Oh right, 20 hours. Here, let me check in my spare hours jar.
For a JRPG, that's not that long.
Anyways, we're getting a little far afield here. That does it for like our main topics. But Ben, we had some lightning round questions that we wanted to throw you because this is something that we love to do with guests, and you are one of our favorite guests. So, are you ready, sir?
I'm ready.
All right, we got 10 for you. Some of these might go a little longer, so maybe lightning round isn't the appropriate name, but. Okay, number 1. If you could take any game franchise and turn it into an RPG-style game, what would you choose and why? And just for reference, I chose Onimusha when I was asked this question. I was very proud of that answer.
That is a good answer.
But that's just to give you a taste of what we're talking about. Yeah, like any non-RPG franchise, you could turn it into an RPG-style game. What do any just jump out at you right away?
Oh, my God.
Then what kind
I know it's a big one.
And
it's
what
a big
kind
one.
of JRPG?
I think a Resident Evil RPG could be cool.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, we have this thing we talk about sometimes where we talk about survival horror RPGs and how come that's not more of a thing.
Yeah.
And like, I assume you would be aligned with us in that opinion. Like, that should be a much more common thing.
Yeah, a lot of times it works out. I mean, I don't know if you guys have played the Doom and Doom 2 RPGs that came out a long time ago.
Doom
but,
and
they
Doom
were done
2
by
RPGs?
Yeah, they were done by id, and they're really quite good.
They're on the phone, right?
Yeah.
Nick, I want to reach across the table and strangle you for not having told me about this sooner, as the resident Doom and RPG expert.
First, it was on mobile, and second, they're pretty old, so I haven't really looked into them. And
They're
third,
really old. I think they're worth playing, though.
Yeah.
Well, really old games are never amazing, right, guys? Here on the JRPG podcast. Anyways, so Resident Evil's a good one. Just like, would it be because you want to see just how they can scare you in an RPG context?
No, actually, I think the reason why I want to do it is because I like a lot of the enemy designs for Resident Evil, and I think those would be fun to fight in RPG form. I also like the weapons of Resident Evil, and just boiling those down to numbers could be really interesting, and like conserving ammo in an RPG format.
Upgrading those weapons and whatnot.
Yeah. I just think mechanically it would be really interesting. I don't necessarily think it would be scary, or it would have to be scary, but I just would, from a gameplay perspective, I think it could be cool.
Interesting. I would love to be scared by an RPG, but one thing you said in there, the enemy design, like translating in an RPG, you could see like the kind of fantastic, like stylized, like style of JRPGs could make some insane like G-virus enemies. Like, could you even imagine the monster dog truck things that you'd be fighting by the end of the game?
Yeah, and your status effects could be so interesting. Like the liquor binds you and you can't move or anything. I think there's a lot of room to do cool stuff there.
Spider poison.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Now you got me going. That's funny that you say Resident Evil because Onimusha is basically just samurai Resident Evil. So
sure.
Great minds. So okay, number 2. What is the most memorable RPG vehicle of all time?
The most memorable
and then the secondary question 2B, what's your personal favorite?
Boy, I'm really hesitant to say like all-time best, but the one that immediately jumps to my mind is the Final Fantasy VII motorcycle when you're busting out of Midgar.
I could have sworn you were going to say Highwind.
Yeah, I thought for sure. Yeah, when you said Final Fantasy, I'm like, Highwind. Yeah,
sure. The Highwind is cool, but I had messed with a lot of airships up in Final Fantasy up to that point. And so just that scene, that CG cutscene, when I saw it as a kid, like it was just the coolest thing to me. And then not only was it a cutscene, you actually controlled Cloud and you had to protect your friends. Like that's a moment I'll never forget. And so I don't know.
You've referenced that moment before. Would you say that's kind of like a seminal moment and like in your JRPG experience as a fan where you're kind of like, oh, this is like the thing for me?
Yeah, just because I wish a lot of JRPGs could make me feel that way, because you have this really cool climactic moment where you're busting out of Midgard, but the reason why it hits so hard is what happens before that. Like, you're following Sephiroth, and he kills a bunch of people. You see this trail of blood. You fight Rufus, the head of Shinra. Like, it just sort of builds up and builds up and builds up, and then escape. And, you know, I don't know up until that point if I had ever been so gripped and so invested in a storyline before.
Oh, man. This is perfect, because I just played through the entire Shinra Tower like just last week, and so it's like fresh in my mind. Like the crescendo of the entire like Midgar arc is so good. Like, I never really realized before. I guess I'm just paying a little closer attention to kind of like plot trajectory and stuff this time, but like just the whole crescendo leading up to Midgar, getting to the Shinra headquarters, getting to the top of it, and then the escape. Like, oh my god, it's like dramatic mastery.
Absolutely. I would argue that arc, as you described it, is probably the best in the game. Not that I don't like the other parts of it, but...
it's just masterful. It's hard to top. So that's your personal favorite. Totally understandable. So number 3, what's your favorite RPG trope? Okay, so what we mean about this is, you know, like the protagonist with amnesia, or the childhood friend with mysterious powers.
I tend to really connect with like sort of Han Solo scoundrel-esque characters in JRPGs, or in any
Zidane.
Yeah, Zidane is a good example. Sort of the you know, lady killer kind of tropes. I just find I like that they don't take themselves so seriously. I like that a lot of times, you know, the weight of the world isn't on their back. They're the ones that can be cracking jokes and alleviating the tension, and that's something I always really appreciate.
Nice. So kind of like the super nonchalant protagonist who kind of like provides comic relief while also being the main character.
Yeah, definitely.
Love that.
Not the magical little girl.
Yeah, there's a couple other tropes that we had. All right. Number 4, favorite Final Fantasy protagonist, and also consider least favorite.
Sure.
I have my guesses of what you're going to say. I want to see.
I really like Zidane a lot. I actually really like Squall. I know he's very divisive.
He's one that could be people's least favorite or favorite. Like, I'm not surprised either way.
Do you guys consider Locke a protagonist? I like Locke quite a bit.
That's a tough one, because it feels like Terra is the protagonist of 6.
Right.
But it's kind of got like Final Fantasy 12-itis, where it's like protagonist-less in that respect. But no, I could give you Locke too. Definitely, he's a great character. He definitely fits into that kind of easygoing, smooth talker that you described.
I would probably boil it down though between Zidane and is it Cecil or Cecil from 4?
I say Cecil, but that's just me. I feel
okay.
What are you gonna do? You know,
right?
Titus. Yeah,
so that's probably my least favorite.
Yeah, perfect segue.
The thing about Lightning is I don't like Lightning, but I think she's a fine character. They just didn't do things that I liked. Like, she's not annoying to me, whereas I feel like we got a whole lot of Titus or Titus or whatever you want to say. And
Titus?
Well, it's his story.
I think he's one of the least interesting characters of that game.
Well, plus because he's like a rich, like, not rich. Sorry, let me start over. He's like the son of like this really well-known legend who everybody respects, and he's like a total sports star who's like receives the adulation of thousands and thousands. So he's totally coddled. I mean, there's nothing really. I mean, he overcomes struggle by being like torn away from his world and whatnot. But when Titus gets ripped away from like his homeland and Xanarkand, like he like doesn't really react in an interesting way. He just is himself still. He's like, oh, whoa, this is weird. I'm here now. It's like, yeah, dude, that's not how you would react if everything you loved and knew suddenly was gone.
Yeah, but yeah, he just gets under my skin. There are just times where he's like yelling at Auron, and I'm like, you're not helping yourself, man. Like you're not making any progress here. Let's go.
Yep.
So
They should have pulled
I actually think that I am aligned with you in my answers. Zidane and Titus.
Okay.
God damn it. All right. So number 5. When you hunker down for a heavy gaming session, what are your snack go-tos? Are you a classic chips and Mountain Dew guy, or do you have some juicy secret rituals?
I definitely used to be a chips and Mountain Dew guy. That has faded a little bit. I do like within the last 2 years, I've gotten really into almonds, and they're nice and not messy.
Blue Diamonds.
But I do some unhealthy things too. I like popcorn a lot. I have a lot of popcorn, and chips and salsa I do sometimes. It's a little hard to do when you game, so it's more of a movie thing, I guess. But almonds, popcorn, what else? Peanuts. Just like regular dry roasted peanuts I like a lot.
Very, very reserved. You've earned my respect, sir, because when I sit down for a long gaming binge, I usually just fill up a bathtub full of gummy bears.
That's awesome. I respect that.
sit down and get to work.
Yeah.
Pour in some Mountain Dew or something. I don't
With the
know.
juice.
Yeah.
I do drink soda when I game a lot. So.
I call it RPG cereal. But anyways, okay, moving on. Number 6. Going back to the theme of the first question. Which RPG or franchise or gaming franchise would you convert into movie form? And if you want to get real crazy, you can add a director too.
I know at least one of you is really going to like this answer. I think I would turn Trails into the Sky into a movie. It just makes so much sense to me. I think it would work perfectly.
Yeah, Nick is stoked. So
What Trails of Cold Steel? That's what.
Either or? Or because you haven't played Trails
I
in the
haven't
Sky,
played.
Nick.
I've played some of Trails of the Sky.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I got the names
but I've
mixed up
beaten
there.
Cold Steel.
So tell us why this would make a great flick.
Because the writing is there, and the world and the characters are fleshed out enough to where you could. In movies, because you're limited with space, you have to kind of leave a lot of things out, but it's this weird thing where I think you have to have enough there in order to know where to cut, and I think Trails of the Sky does that. Trails of in the Sky and Cold Steel. I think.
Would you end the movie at the cliffhangers?
If
turn it into a trilogy
in the future, if we could make more movies in the future, maybe. But yeah, I don't know. Honestly, I think in terms of writing and characterization, that series in general, Cold Steel or otherwise, is the best I've seen in a long time.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you came up with that answer pretty fast. I thought you would have to mull that one over, so must mean it.
The thing is there are a lot of JRPGs I love, even recent ones that I love, that the quality of the storytelling just isn't there.
Right.
It works in that context, but I think if you were to take it anywhere else, it just would fall flat.
Right. Well, a lot of really cool games just kind of get wimpy plots carried on style points. Mm-hmm. So I can definitely see what you mean.
Could you guys imagine a Final Fantasy 13 movie?
I mean,
that'd be atrocious.
There'd be a lot of stuff blowing up. I'm sure it would, tickle some people.
What is going on here? What are they talking about?
Yeah,
when you walk into the theater, they give you a pamphlet with all these all the terms. All right, now see pamphlet page 2.
Yeah, it just explains 90 minutes of movie action that happened before the movie starts that you have to know to understand it. Anyways, moving on. Number 7, Mr. Ben.
Mm-hmm.
Number 1 hobby outside of gaming.
I've been watching a lot of TV recently. I've been getting more into TV, but the answer is music for sure.
Interesting.
I really get into bands and music, and I'm always looking for new music. So.
Are you a music lover or a musician rather?
No, I wish I was a musician. That is legitimately my biggest regret in life. Is I wish I knew how to play an instrument super proficiently.
Never say that. Sorry. So
it's probably true.
The life of a musician.
I wouldn't want the life of a musician. Playing music and learning about music tickles me in a very particular way. It would just be for my own satisfaction, not for profit or anything.
Definitely. No, I love playing drums more than anything, by the way. I would never mean to imply that musical pursuits aren't worth it, because they 100% are. But that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So, what's the last band that you really got stuck on?
Oh gosh. Well, I've been in a metal kick recently.
Oh, dude, I love you so much.
Yeah,
I'm alone here.
I go in and out of metal pretty hard, and they've been around for a while, but I've just started listening to Cobalt, and they're super good. They're two dudes from Colorado, and they're putting out some pretty good stuff.
I will check them out.
Yeah, there's a new Metallica album coming out, so I've been listening to Master of Puppets and Ride the Lightning. Yeah, exactly, pretty much.
Yeah, doing that pretty well.
I've listened to a lot of Metallica in my day, son. Moving on. So, as a Los Angeles man, Mr. Moore, what's the greatest food spot you've ever been to in LA? You knew this was coming.
I ate there today with Huber and Damiani and Brad. Sujita is the best food I've ever had ever.
Sujita?
Yeah, so it's a ramen place. You can get ramen or sukumen there, and it is divine, man. Like, it is the best food. If you like noodles and broth, it doesn't get any better than that. It was better, actually, than ramen I had in Japan. I went to, 3 different ramen places, and they were all very good, but they weren't Sujita good. So.
Wow.
Right, well, L.A. is a food capital, on the globe, not just, in the state or the country, so that actually kind of makes sense.
We found out today, though, that they had a B rating from the public health department. We're like, oh, that's weird.
A little troubling.
Yeah, we'll just, walk right past that.
Yep.
Let's just block that off.
Yeah.
So I might die, soon, but
it was worth it.
Yeah, you'll die with a belly full of happiness.
Mm-hmm. You have to wait. So today we waited more than an hour to get in, though. So if you are in the LA area and you're gonna go, be prepared.
Well, boys, when we make our way down south, we know where to go, at the behest of Ben Moore.
Mm-hmm.
All right, number 9. This is a really, really important question, okay? So I need you to prepare yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever been hit in the testicles so hard that you vomited?
Not that I vomited, no.
Well, then give me a really great story of you getting hit in the testicles. If you don't have any, I'll give you a pass, but I expect greatness.
Well, I don't know how great it is, but I think so. I had a best friend in high school, and his name is Steve. And I think one time I either purposefully or accidentally kicked him in the balls at some point throughout our high school career. I don't remember when it was. And on graduation day, senior year, we're getting a picture taken, and he comes up to me, and he kicks me in the balls as hard as he can. And I'm tearing up, and he's like, I told you I would get you back for that.
Dude, that's some samurai type, mortal revenge type shit right there.
It was a kick with vengeance behind it, for sure.
Man.
You saw flashing
that's probably
lights.
the hardest.
Bless your heart.
There, yeah, so.
By the way, guys, talking to the guys in the room with me, I told you that question would bear fruit. I told you. All right, and this question number 10 is even more important than that one, if you can even fathom that. But if you had to choose one female character from an RPG or an anime to turn into a waifu body pillow, who would you choose?
Oh, God. None of the above. I don't know.
Think carefully. You can just go with an easy answer. It's okay. I won't blame you. I just wanted to hear you react to the question.
Sure. I don't know. I don't know how to answer this question because I don't know if I would want a character that I actually think is a cool, well-written character, or if just
the most overt dumb, fan privilege.
Right. Yeah.
I'm just gonna say Tifa, just because that's she's an all-timer as far as RPG babes.
Definitely. That's a good pick.
See, that wasn't so hard, Ben.
No, I mean, she is probably the obvious answer, I guess.
Yeah.
I like Eris a lot as well. In the Tifa Eris argument, I tend to go with Eris. So.
Interesting. I actually, in this new playthrough I'm doing of FF7, I've actually come to really just kind of dive a little deeper into her character and really kind of get to know her a little more. And I've found myself becoming more attached to her than I have in the past on previous files.
Yeah, she's cool.
By the way, I just want to give mad props that you guys actually call her Eris and not Aerith. I refuse, even when the remake comes out, I'm not going to call her Aerith. I'm it's Eris.
Yeah, man.
Oh, I call her. I just, depending on what I'm feeling, I will call her Eris or Aerith. I don't know why. But.
Yeah. How about this? How about we all just agree to call her A-Dog?
A-Dog.
A-Dog.
Sounds
Why-
good.
A-Dog from the block, yeah. Yeah, all right.
A-Dog from the
See,
church.
Ben, you're catching on. That's brilliant. How are we doing on time, Nick? We know Ben is a busy man, so.
We're on an hour right now.
All right, sounds good. Well, do you want to wrap up this episode?
Yeah, sure. I would like to thank Ben for joining us this time.
Mm-hmm.
Again,
Yeah, absolutely.
'cause
Always a pleasure.
It's always fun.
Agreed.
If you guys want to email us questions, go ahead and email us at askgiantsword@gmail.com.
Please do. We love the questions.
If you want to follow us on Twitter or Facebook, just follow us on Twitter at LHG Channel. Facebook will be Last Honest Gamers. And if you are watching on YouTube, please comment, subscribe, and like.
Boom. All right. Well, thanks so much for coming on again, Ben, and we hope to see you soon. Hope all is well.